Hello and welcome to our channel. Today we are going to walk you through the process of setting up Oracle VirtualBox to host two popular Linux operating systems, namely Linux Mint and Ubuntu. We will be referencing to our operating system course assignment 1. So we need to question 1 mainly. So we will have to configure the Linux Mint and Ubuntu, assign the IP addresses, their memory, CPU, processor, and then later at the stage of the video we will try to establish a connection between the Linux Mint operating system and as well as the Ubuntu operating system. So firstly we need to download the Oracle VirtualBox. You can simply choose a web browser of your preference. We can simply type in the VirtualBox probably. The first results directs us to the official website of the VirtualBox Oracle. They do provide multiple variety of platform packages, so you can choose from the packages that meets your requirements for your physical machine. As you have downloaded your Oracle VirtualBox, you should see a similar interface as shown on your screen. However, you might not see the two virtual machines already installed since I have done it previously. So there shouldn't be any virtual machines currently hosted on your Oracle virtual machine. So now in order to host Linux Mint and Ubuntu operating systems, we need to download their respective ISO images. To download the ISO images, we need to simply open the web browser and then type in the for example, in this case we will first download the Linux Mint ISO images first. So be sure. Alright, so they provide a wide variety of editions. Cinnamon edition is the latest edition, so you can also select previous versions based on if they are compatible with your physical machines. One good thing about there is a list of links in which you can download your ISO images for Linux Mint. They also provide integrity so that the ISO images that you download is from a valid source. So you can also verify the authenticity of your Linux ISO image by simply clicking on installation guide and then selecting verify your ISO image. And from there you can follow the steps provided in order for you to verify the ISO image if it's from a valid source. Following that, we will also be downloading the Ubuntu ISO image. You can simply search in Ubuntu ISO image download, and the first result directs you to the official Ubuntu website, and you can download the latest version as well as the previous versions based on your preferences. Also be sure that to note down where you have saved your ISO images. So in my case, I have saved them in my downloads folder. As you can see, Linux Mint up there, and Ubuntu is there. Since I downloaded Ubuntu previously, so it's a bit far down. So now you can open your Oracle VirtualBox. In order to create a new instances, you need to click on new name. So in this case, we will go with the Linux Mint. Select the ISO like as I have shown. My ISO, Linux Mint ISO is saved at my downloads folder, and open, and then be sure to also click on skip unattended installations. Click the checkbox. Right now we will need to configure the hardware. This is basically our RAM. So in this case we will be assigning 3 GB of RAM. So 3 GB leads to 3072 in terms of MB, and we will be assigning only one processor. Following that, we need to click on next to proceed, and then now the virtual hard disk. Since we will not be using for complex projects, so we will just assign 50 GB of virtual hard disk in this case, and then click on next. This is a basic summary of our what we will be actually hosting on our Oracle VirtualBox. We should click on finish, and we should now see Linux Mint. So we have just only defined it. So now double click it to open it. From now it will take time to install the Linux Mint. Please remember, do not press anything when during installation, since it can interrupt the installations regardless of the comments they want. So please do not press anything. After installing, you should see a similar screen like this, and then double click on install Linux Mint. You should see a cinnamon version. Basically, you can see any other wallpaper as well, since I have downloaded the cinnamon version. After some time, you should see a similar screen like this. So click on continue if your language is English, and then now select the keyboard layout. Continue. Since we will not be using it for complex projects, so we will not be installing multimedia codecs as of now. Be sure to click on erase disk and install Linux Mint at this stage, and then click on install now. Continue. After installation, you should see a screen like this. Select where you are from. So now it's just personalization of your Linux Mint operating system. So in my case, I will be entering my student ID as my name. Choose a password. Prior to that, computer's name, I will name it as my student ID as this Linux Mint VirtualBox. I will just type in here Linux Mint. Okay, so now choose a password. Remember, you can set a password for when accessing your Linux Mint operating system, and do not forget these passwords as it will be required when you try to log into your system, your virtual machine. Now click on continue. Then you should see some files and some files being downloaded, so leave as it is. We need to restart the PC now, the virtual machine now, in order for the installation to be finished. After restarting, you should see a similar interface, and now it requires the password that you entered before during installation. So you can now enter the password to log in. After successfully login, we need to assign an IP address to our Linux Mint virtual machine. So in this case, we will be assigning 50.0.0.10. So now you can pause the video and look at the commands that I have already typed. So my last command will be to assign the IP address will be sudo nm CLI connection modify and connection wired connection 1 in parentheses following any space and then typing IPv4.address and then the IP address that you would assign. So now Linux Mint is done and assigned the IP address. Now we will try to host the Ubuntu operating system. We will now select the ISO image we have in our downloads folder, skip unattended installations and then click on next. Again we will assign 3 GB of RAM to Ubuntu operating system, so and then 50 GB of a virtual hard disk 50. Now next, finish and then double click to power it on. Also we need to ask the left click and then select network and then host only adapter in this case, or you can also use internal network as well. These are the ports, the audio storage, display mechanisms in the system. If you want to change the name, you can change the name in the generals category. Just checking if the network, alright, so network for Linux Mint is also host only adapter. So now after successfully installing the Ubuntu operating system onto our Oracle VirtualBox, we need to set it up as we did it for our Linux Mint. You can see the interface of the Ubuntu operating system. Then click on install Ubuntu, and on the file left hand side be sure to select the language. Now select the keyboard layout. For me, I just kept as default. So now I will click on minimal installation, since I will not be using it for complex tasks. This is just for demonstration purposes. Installation type, right? Click on select the checkbox erase disk and install Ubuntu, and then click on install now. Continue. After installing for such a time, and then click on the country region you are in, and then now your personalization of your virtual machine, operating system. So I'll keep my name as my student ID, and the name will be my student ID dash Ubuntu dash VirtualBox, so that it's easy for me to refer. And then be sure to set a password for your virtual machine. Also remember your passwords, so there, because they require passwords when logging in. If you do not want to require passwords while logging in, you can simply click on login automatically. However, it is recommended to require passwords when logging in. So it all depends on your preferences. So now, in order to complete the installation, you need to restart your PC now, your virtual machine now, as we did it for Linux Mint. After successfully restarting your virtual machine, now you need to enter your password to login. What we will now do is assign an IP address to this Ubuntu operating system, so that we can establish a communication between our Linux Mint and Ubuntu operating system. Click on settings and network settings. We can either do it from here. I'm just showing this how we can do it through here, through the GUI interface in Ubuntu. We can also do it using the terminal. I've also showed how we can do it using terminal in the Linux Mint. So based on your preferences, whichever you find it easy, you can do it. We will assign the IP address as 50.0.0.11. And then now we will open the terminal. So now we are just trying to establish a so now based on you can pause the video and look at the commands that I have already installed. The first command IPIDD RSO was used to show if the IP address that I have entered is embedded, is now operational or no, and then from that we can also use the how many connections the Ubuntu operating system has. And now the command that I am currently typing, we are adding a connection name, a connection, and its name is wired connection 1, and the interface name is ENPOS3. The type assigned will be Ethernet. Hit on enter then. You can see the wired connection 1 successfully added. So now we will try to start the connection by simply typing in. By now we will be assigning its IP address to the wired connection 1. So in this case it's 50.0.0.11. Now we will try to up the connection like normally we say, like on the connection, status to on. Our state, we will change the status to up. So sudo nm cli connection up and then type the interface. So now you can see that the connection has been successfully activated. We'll use nm cli connection show, and in parentheses we will type wired connection 1 to show the information about the interface. These are the details about the wired connection 1. You can also see the IP address assigned. We will close the terminal now. So through the Linux Mint, we will try to ping it now. We haven't assigned anything, but we are just trying to ping it. Which is of course unsuccessful. And we will also try it from the Linux Mint as well. So try pinging Linux Mint to Ubuntu. We will simply open the command terminal in Linux Mint and then type in ping the address and then the address of the Ubuntu machine. So in this case it's a ping of 50.0.0.0.11. So this also remains unsuccessful as of now. So now what we do is to make a connection between Linux Mint and the Ubuntu. We need to ensure that the both virtual machines are on the same subnet and their IPs are being correctly configured. After this, we also need to assign the IP route through which route they will communicate to each other. So IP route, just to show the default IP routes that it has. So now we will be adding a new IP route. So sudo IP route address. This is the subnet via the 50.0.0.0.1, since the .1 indicates that it is a network address. And then type your passwords. It will require it requires admin privileges, so be sure to add your passwords and continue. So right, there you go. So now we will also need to configure the root. Just discard the previous commands that I have sent. So IP root, as soon as you type IP root, you can see the following results. And then now we need to also check if the firewall is turned off. So we will use the following command: sudo ufw, which is the Ubuntu firewall status. And then again you will need admin privileges. Please enter your passwords again. And then see our firewall is inactive. So now sudo wf the firewall, allow for ICMP. ICMP is finally used in networking components. We'll also now try to see the firewall status of the, and then when we ping it to, and then from after successfully checking the status of the Ubuntu, we were able to successfully ping it to our, from Linux to, we were able to ping it to Ubuntu. So now we will try to ping it from Ubuntu to Linux. So ping 50.0.0.10 is, so right, we are able to successfully ping it. We can see the data can be sent between these two virtual machines. So now I will just try to show you guys again, just to confirm. So I will now check the IP address, like, to be sure that if it's connecting to the right virtual machine. So the IP address of my Linux Mint is 50.0.0.10. So we will now ping it to ping it to the address of Ubuntu. So we will check the Ubuntu address. This is just for confirmation purposes. We have already pinged it. So now we can see the Ubuntu address is 50.0.0.11. So from the Linux Mint, we will try to ping 50.0.0.11 and then enter. As now you can see 64 bits from the address of Linux, ICMP, sequence 1 and so forth. So now we will again try it with Ubuntu. The Ubuntu is, we will type in ping and then the address of the Linux Mint, which is 50.0.0.10, and then we can see they are able to communicate in this case. So that's all for now, and I hope you are also able to do it.